Welcome back dear friends in Anatomy Student Zone. Today I will give you an overview of thigh, how it's organized into different compartments. In this lecture I will focus on a fascia lata, its modification, as these are very important points for the exam point of view. And also it's important if you want to make a concept on the compartments of thigh. So anatomically, thigh starts from hip joint to knee joint. It is very important to know about inguinal ligament before starting or going into detail of this topic. So what the inguinal ligament is? Inguinal ligament is also known as Boupert's ligament or arcus inguinalis. So as the name indicates, ligament, it is a band of connective tissue that extends from the anterior superior iliac spine to pubic tubercle. So the anterior superior iliac spine, it's on a ilium bone, and the pubic tubercle is on pubic bone. So inguinal ligament is formed by the free inferior border of aponeurosis of external oblique muscle. So what is external oblique muscle? This is muscle of your abdomen. So when it's aponeurosis, its free inferior border is bent over, so it's going to form a inguinal ligament. Why this ligament is important? It's important because it is closely related to number of structure. I'm not going into detail of it, but remember in thigh region, this ligament forms the superior boundary of femoral triangle. So what the femoral triangle is, we will see it later on. So now I will cover the complete detailed anatomy of fascia lata. I will also cover the exams questions related to it. So this whole topic is going to be covered. So fascia lata is a membranous layer of a deep fascia of thigh. So remember, it's a deep fascia of a thigh and it's its membranous layer, not a superficial fascia. And this fascial sheath envelops the thigh like a spandex legging, as you can see. So in this image, consider this spandex legging in thigh region only. And if we are going to focus it on a thigh region, consider it as an fascia lata. So this fascia is a strong, extensible and elastic stocking that is going to cover thigh. Now I will tell you about the attachments of this fascia. So superiorly and laterally it is attached to iliac crest, as we can see. Anteriorly its attachment is to inguinal ligament, pubic arch, body of pubis, pubic tubercle, and I'm sure you can identify these points on bone. So on posterior and medial side, this fascia lata is attached to sacrum bone because this is bone on a posterior side, coccyx, sacrotuberous ligament, and the ischial tuberosities, which are located laterally. So if we go approximately 1 finger breadth inferior to inguinal ligament, the fascia lata, that is a deep fascia of thigh, it attaches to the Scarpa's fascia of inferior abdominal wall. And the Scarpa fascia is the fascia of abdomen. So above fascia lata is attached to fascia of inferior abdominal wall. Inferiorly, if I trace this fascia, this is continuous with the deep fascia of leg, and the deep fascia of leg is named as crural fascia. So the thickness of this fascia is not same in all the region of thigh. It varies considerably along the thigh. It is thickest along the suprolateral aspect. So have you ever thought why it's thickest over the suprolateral aspect? It is because the facial condensation of gluteus maximus and the medius is thick over there. So it is also thick around the knee. The reason for this is because this fascia is receiving the reinforcing fiber from tendon of quadriceps muscle, so it is thick. But this fascia is thin where it covers adductor muscle of medial thigh. So we can see this deep fascia of thigh wraps the large muscle of thigh and forms the outer limit of a fascial compartments. So with the help of this, it limits the outward expansion of contracting muscle and it makes the muscular contraction more efficient. So if the muscular contraction are efficient, then these compresses the veins and this lead to push of a blood towards the heart. So how it's going to affect the function of these muscle and helping in a return of a blood to heart. So after the attachment, I will tell you about the modification of this fascia. So its one modification is iliotibial tract. So on the lateral surface of the thigh, this fascia lata becomes thick and it forms a strong wide band that we name as iliotibial tract or a iliotibial band. As the name indicates, iliotibial is going to start from iliac crest to a lateral tibial condyle. So it is attached to above to the tubercle of iliac crust, and below it is attached to lateral condyle of tibia. Function of this tract is to form a sheath for the tensor fasciae lata muscle, and it also receives insertion of a greater part of gluteus maximus that you have already shown, or you have already seen this in a gluteal lecture. So another importance of the modification of fascia lata that it form is intermuscular septa. So three intermuscular septa are formed. Lateral intermuscular septa is strongest of the three septa. So why the lateral intermuscular septa is strong? And you already know, again, the iliotibial tract is on the lateral side of thigh. So this septa is also strong over here. But the other two septa, if we compare this with that of lateral, they are weak as compared to lateral one. So these septa are formed by the inward extension of fascia lata, that is a deep fascia of thigh. So after rising from this fascia, these septa are attached to femur bone. But remember, it's very important that at which point of femur bone they are going to attach. So that point is linea aspera. So linea aspera is on shaft of femur bone, and you can see it's on a posterior side of shaft of femur bone. So linea aspera of femur bone is going to provide attachment to these septa that arises from the inner aspect of deep fascia of thigh. So as we can also see their attachment on the linea aspera here in this image as well. So function of this septa is to divide the thigh musculature into three compartments. So in this way, the thigh is organized into compartments, and these compartments are anterior, medial, and the posterior compartment. Hence, each compartment is having its own muscles, their own nerve supply, and their own blood supply. So the muscle of the anterior compartment are extensors of the knee, posterior compartment are flexor of the knee, and the medial compartment is adductor compartment, so they are adductor of knee. So as I told you, each compartment is having their own nerve supply. So the nerve supply of anterior is femoral nerve of medial is obturator nerve, and the nerve of posterior compartment is sciatic nerve. So I will tell you the detail of these compartments in next session, but now we are going to cover the last modification of the fascia lata, that is saphenous opening. So saphenous opening, as the name indicates, opening. So it is an oval shape opening or aperture, and this aperture is present again in fascia lata. So where and how we can find this aperture, at which point of thigh we are going to identify it, we are going to see this right now. So as we can see the green structure shown in this image, and this is fascia lata, and the fascia lata is having opening or a gap that is known as saphenous opening. And when we are going to identify this opening, first we have to identify the medial aspect of inguinal ligament. So again, I told you inguinal ligament is folded structure. So it's medial, and when we are going to find this, as we can see in this image, if we are going inferior to this and lateral to the medial aspect of inguinal ligament, we can find an opening over here. So this opening is saphenous opening. So if I summarize, I will say this opening is located infralateral to the medial aspect of inguinal ligament. So I can also take the pubic tubercle as a landmark if I am not going to take the inguinal ligament, because on a pubic tubercle you can feel on a surface anatomy. So instead of inguinal ligament, we are going to trace the saphenous opening by mean of it. So if we go 4 cm below and lateral to pubic tubercle, again we can find this aperture. So there are the two way you can identify it by means of inguinal ligament as well, and you can identify it by means of pubic tubercle as well. So remember, the facial opening is just very small opening. It is 3 to 4 cm in length, 2.5 cm wide, but its length can vary. So superior, lateral and inferior border of this opening, that is shown in this image as red, as you can see. So this is sharp, and we can name this superior, lateral and inferior border of this opening as falciform margin. So imagine if I place a porous lid on this opening, and this lid is made up of membrane, I will name this lid as cribriform fascia. So what cribriform fascia is? It is sieve-like membranous layer of cutaneous tissue, or I can say it is a thin perforated part of a superficial fascia that is going to cover this opening that is present in deep fascia, that is fascia lata. So this cribriform fascia is pierced by great saphenous vein, as the name indicates, saphenous opening. So great saphenous vein is longest vein in our body. This is superficial vein of lower limb. You have to remember this point, that saphenous vein is not a deep vein. So besides the great saphenous vein, the structure which are going to pierce the cribriform fascia, or if I ask you a question, can you name the structure that is passing through the saphenous opening, then these are, as you can see, two superficial branches of femoral artery, which are superficial epigastric and superficial external pudendal. As I told you, superficial branches. So these are superficial epigastric and superficial external pudendal artery. Besides that, the structure other that also passes through saphenous opening, these are lymphatic as well. So dear friends, if I summarize this topic, I will say the modification of a deep fascia of thigh, that is a fascia lata.